Hey everybody, this is my new Saber I wanted to show. I know there's been some talk on the forums about doing some mods on some Dominic's V3s as a contest, and so I was getting ready to post this anyways, and so I thought I'd try to get on there a little quicker so I could kind of show off some of its features and maybe give some people some ideas to use on their own Sabers. This started off as a Dominic's G2 and also a Dominic's Initiate V2. They were both black anodized. I bought them a long time ago, and I'd stripped them out as far as the blades, switches, battery packs, LEDs and everything. I basically gutted them, and I threw them to the side because I knew I'd use them on a project eventually. So I decided I didn't really have a lot of money, and I wanted to keep building. So I pulled out a lot of stuff that I had. I had a Malice pommel that I had bought to use with my bellicose, and it just never quite matched up right. So I never really used it, and so I kind of had that, and I had a leftover Suba from another build, and so I just basically started, the build from scratch and just started working on it. Ended up deciding to go with kind of like a Deco punk style, similar to steampunk, but without the gears. So I did a lot of brass overlays. As you can see, there's also some copper overlays. These are simulated leather grips made from heavy-duty industrial strength heat shrink, and then that's been painted over with several layers of different kinds of paint to give it that kind of leather feel. And I also kind of put some metallic on there to make it look like there's some metallic dust on it, and then also went back over it with some black for the weathering, and went over the whole thing with black on the weathering. And now all the weathering's also been sealed in with lacquer. Did a couple real light coats to kind of, get it on there so it wouldn't kind of gum up on me. And then I kind of went over it after that with one last heavy coat to really make sure everything was sealed in. So it's also got a blade plug that's got a light that's been drilled out through the bottom for the LED to shine up through. I will go ahead and fire that on here in a second. Also, the Malice pommel, I put some spikes on it, and I also, if you notice, this part right here, it doesn't stick up as far because it didn't quite match up with the hilt, or with any of my hilts, because that part kind of stuck out too far to my taste. So I put it on a lathe, and I actually spun this all these sides down the same to where they just barely protrude out, and I think it looks really good with this, especially with this transition piece that I made right here to go on. I always kind of like the look of the end of my, katana type sabers to look like you could bash somebody in the head with the pommel. It's kind of a theme that I used on my last one, and the same thing with this one. I kind of wanted to go with a little bit of like an old Republic look, which I thought this kind of had that kind of color scheme. And it kind of looks like an elegant saber before it was all, weathered. Also, this is designed to look somewhat like a furnace door. I was going to put a hinge on there, but I thought I'd cut my hands or something like that on it if I went ahead and did that. So I just actually held it on with a set screw, and I actually need to weather that. I just noticed I never did weather the set screw holding that on. But I will go ahead and do that after the video at some point. This does come off, and there's a crystal chamber on the inside. I'll show that in a second. This is a special switch that I made with a micro switch so that this is all recessed on the inside, so the micro switch sits pretty much flush inside here. It doesn't stick down into the hilt hardly at all, which lets me slide the 18650 battery all the way up to the crystal chamber. So I've got the nano biscotti down here. You've got the 18650 Li-ion cell. You got my crystal chamber here, and then up here you got the recharge port and LED. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire this up. This is got a 2-part blade plug. Both of them are for display purposes, but this one is only for display because it has a glass gold actually in it. This one here will be used if I'm going to take it anywhere, like cosplaying or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and pull the kill key and turn this on and show you its functions. So let's go. This is running res blade. So as you can see, it's actually a pretty loud saber. I always thought res blade sounded good on the nano biscotti. There's the light bulb. And if you look here, even that first door, I got it in there just so that you can see a little bit of the crystal chamber. So it almost looks like there's a fire going in that door there or something. Also, this blade plug is meant to go right over this one as well for display purposes to give you more of the tube effect. And like I say, it'll probably be on my stand a lot like that when I'm not using it or taking it anywhere. But these also comes out. Pull that piece out. This one also slides in without it. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down just a little bit. Okay, so now you can see on the side pattern, you got a little bit of light that escapes at the top with the grooves, and then also it's got a kind of a nice pattern on the top too. It's kind of bright on camera, it's hard to see, but now I'll just go ahead and also note that this is the first one I've actually used O-rings on. I mean, I kind of did with a few like St. Tube Sabers I did, but actually on like a high-end build, I've kind of stayed away from those, but I actually kind of wanted them on this one because for choke points. But what I did is I recessed each one of these in, and then they're also JB welded in place so that they don't move or anything like that. And then they've also been lacquered over to just kind of, you know, keep any kind of abrasions, just a little bit of protection I thought on them. Wouldn't hurt anything. I did, you know, a custom Suba like a build I did like 2 or 3 ago where I had a couple extra ones, so I used that with this. This is built from pretty much all scratched parts. These are all overlays that I machined for this. And the last feature I'm going to go ahead and show is the crystal chamber. I did show the crystal chamber in a separate video, not in the Saber. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pop this door off. I'll try to hurry up so I can keep the video time down. Getting up there. But anyways, this shroud turns and exposes the crystal chamber just like so. And you can notice I put a couple extra rods in there that really give it a nice little effect too. And then that's all been weathered on the inside as well. And this piece slides right here, the shroud, like I say. And so that's a neat feature. It's actually a feature I give props to Mad Cow on because I've seen him use it first on one of his Sabers. I know other people have as well. He's done his a little bit different than me. This is the only part I didn't weather just because I'm going to be sliding this back and forth. I thought it would get scratched up. I almost thought about acid weathering it, but I thought, you're never really going to see it because I'm going to go ahead and put the door back on. And really, when the door's not on, the crystal chamber will be exposed. So, anyhow, I hope that gives everybody a lot of ideas. Like I say, I mean, this is a really fun Saber to have some swings. And there's a flash for you. So, anyhow, that's my Saber, and I hope it gives you some ideas to use on maybe your next builds or your next modifications. And if you have any questions, feel free to PM me or hit me up. I'll try to answer anything I can. Later.